looking from down the line here and I'm hitting obviously out in that direction. Flag out there, aim something near that flag. We don't need to even aim correctly. Even aiming is, it's pointless if my golf swing is not going to match my aim. Why do I want to stick on the ground pointing in that direction? If I'm going to be swinging this way, it doesn't matter. Most people should aim right because they're going to come over the top so they can pull it back on line. Obviously someone that comes underneath should aim left and hit out towards their target. So a lot of good, people hit good shots, even aiming straight in, they think, oh, they must have been aimed right. It's got nothing to do with that. It's all their golf swing. And you can learn to aim based on what we're talking about with how long you can hold your wrist cock, how quick you can rotate. That all dictates where you should aim. So every person should have their own aiming point. It doesn't really matter. You can throw that away. Waste of time until you get your swing in tune and you understand where your low point is, where your path is, then you'll find your correct aim. So the opposing force attitude would be, if I'm aiming straight down here, as I'm coming down, I want to feel like I'm hitting over here towards this pylon. Not quite as much. Obviously, when we're swinging in motion, it's not going to be as severe as what I'm showing here. But we want to feel like we're swinging out in that direction, and then our body is pulling us back in this direction. This is what a lot of the great ball strikers did. They entered one direction, exited the other. Level turning, rotating, using the body. Not many good ball strikers have got to here stop, throwing their hands at the ball. Let's see where that one. So the opposition of entering from one direction and exiting from the other. You can see the more you feel like you're coming from here, which is forearm rotation, palm up, the less chance over the top can occur. Very hard to. And even if you do come over the top, it won't really pull left or slice too much. It'll just lower your trajectory down, so you'll hit straighter shots. Make the game a lot easier for yourself. So the opposing force of entering one way and exiting the other cancels one another out. It's force against force, makes the ball go. That's also why I talk about the backswing not really being too important. There's a lot of ways you can make a backswing, obviously based on all the golfers over history. Take the club back a lot of different ways. You can go Jim Furyk outside, straight back into his slot. Ray Floyd and Knutson sort of dragged it inside, so Sneed dragged it inside and came over with their hands a little bit, but still had the shaft behind them. Or you can go straight back, a bit like Norman and Nicholas, and then the same thing. They're all finding that nice slot coming down that allows the range of motion in the body to go from closed to open and work through the shot. And I can pick one up over my head like this and make a golf swing because I've worked hard and understood and realised what I have to feel at impact. So that just shows you can really make any type of backswing you want as long as you know where you've got to be coming down and what's going to happen. So it's really not that important. It can help, but you've got to find your own feel. I could never tell anyone how they should make a backswing. I could make a recommendation based on what I'm seeing, But I'd much rather we don't hit the ball with our backswing, we hit the ball from here through. Trying to keep the shaft under the plane, pressure it into the plane, hold it through the strike so we've got all our control. Now I know I harp on about the right arm quite a lot. It's very important. The best golfers ever supported the golf club with this right arm being bent. What it did is it stabilised their low point where the club would hit. So if I start off at address and my right arm is reasonably bent because my right hand's lower, right shoulder's lower, right arm's a little bit bent there. If I can return that into a similar position, I have a much greater chance of striking the ball. As soon as that right arm gets away and straightens, you can see the club wants to hit, so I'm going to have to make some type of adjustment, whether I stand up, whether I throw out. There's a lot of different things that have to happen for the club to hit that ball squarely and sweetly. So the more I can return this right arm to a very similar address position, the more control I'm going to have, the greater accuracy I'm going to have, and then I can create power with this. I don't need to just thrust my arm onto the ball. So we can see, we make a few nice little one-handed swings. Kept that nice and bent into impact, kept it nice and bent through impact, and made some speed with my body. Good strike, nice thin divot. So I'm not thrusting that arm at the ball to create speed. This, staying bent, how I set up, supports the club. Gives me all the control in the world. It's pretty hard to hit a ball one-handed like that. Now if I want to swing like everyone does and they want to create velocity and they want to straighten that right arm out, you can see, one, that divot is halfway to China. Two, it's a hit well behind the ball. So you can see if I'm going to go straightening that right arm out into impact or coming down, I'm going to have to make some adjustment up here. So if I'm going to hit that club behind the ball, I've got to start raising up. When I raise up, that right arm throws out. You can see I had no timing on that whatsoever. So this is a real important part of the golf swing. I have a lot of pictures on my website showing all this straight arm club face roll, and they're great players, but they're not the greatest ball strikers in the world day in and day out. It takes a lot of time, a lot of practice. I'm sure a lot of them wake up every day thinking, can I find it again? Supporting that club with the right arm, using the body to turn through, keeping that. Much easier to strike the ball. Very thin, shallow divots there, because I'm not straightening and steepening that shaft onto the ball. I'm trying to turn it around. It's one of the reasons I really advocate flatter lie angles than what people get off the rack today or get fitted for. Steeper clubs are just making people want to do that. They're making them want to straighten that arm out, and it's not helping. It'll help for 5 minutes, but then it's just going to make the problem that you have in your swing even worse. So, very poor band-aid. Change it every week. Fix your golf swing, make it function correctly. Equipment's not going to do it for you. You can use equipment set up properly. This club here is a 6 iron. It's it's about 6 degrees flat standard. I'm sure it doesn't look that when you look at the video footage. It takes a little bit of adjustment, but obviously the more I'm feeling that I'm like this, the more I have to feel like I'm going to swing around myself. If I stood there with a club that was 5 degrees upright, I'm going to want to swing and chop at it like that. You can see the more that I have to raise that club up, the more space I get in here, the more that right arm straightens, the less control I'm going to have.